In the previous video, I showed you how to create a custom icon library and reduce your bundle size by 50 to 70%. And in this follow-up video, I'm going to show you how to make sure that all Quasar components render correctly in your app and display icons properly, so that you don't run into problems such as you can see with this QDate component in Fudget 2. And if you missed the previous video where we created this project here, then you can find a link to the whole playlist in the description. Make sure you click subscribe and click the bell. Every subscription helps me to create more content for this channel. So after the previous video, I added a QDate component to Fudget 2 and found that the icons here were all messed up. However, unlike the QSelect component, which has a prop which allows us to override this little drop-down icon here, there are no such props for the QDate component. So I ended up integrating a really hacky CSS solution to replace these icons in the QDate component. But it wasn't very nice, and it actually broke after I switched to a different computer, because all of these codes in the generated CSS file for the icon library were different. And so my CSS broke. But then Razvan, the Quasar creator genius, pointed me in the direction of IconSets. And an IconSet is just a JavaScript file like this, which tells Quasar which icons to use in the Quasar components. And so I was able to add an IconSet to my app and specify the icons which should be used by the date components. And this QDate component now looks beautiful again. So in this video, we're going to carry on with the project we created in the last video, this one here. And if you don't have this, you can grab the code from dannys.link/Quasar icon library code. And I'll put the link in the description. And so we're going to add a bunch of Quasar components to this page, which use material icons. And we're going to see that all of the icons are messed up. So then I'm going to show you how to add a custom icon set to this app and replace all of the icons in these Quasar components with icons that are in our icon library. So I'm going to show you how to fix the icons for just one component, and I'll also show you how to fix the icons for all Quasar components so that you can safely use any Quasar component in your app without having to worry about it. So I have the finished project from the last video open here. And before we launch it, let's just do a little bit of tidying up to give our folder structure a little bit of consistency. So we're going to be creating an icon set called Custom Icons. So let's just use the name Custom Icons for everything. So in our source folder, I'm going to create a new folder called Custom-Icons, and we'll place our icon set and all of our SVG icons in here. And our SVG icons are currently in this SVG icons folder. So I'm going to drag that folder into this custom icons folder, and I'll rename it to just SVG. And we're also going to change our output folder, which is currently in the public folder here, and it's currently called icon font, but we're going to change this to custom-icons. So I'm just going to delete this folder for now. And we also need to adjust our scripts in the package.json file. So let's open that up. And I'm going to rename our scripts here, icon font and icon font watch, to custom-icons and custom-icons watch. And we need to update our paths in these commands. So now the input path for our SVGs is going to be source/custom-icons/SVG. And the output path is going to be public/custom-icons. So I'll change that. And in this watch script here, the command we want to run now is npm run custom icons. So I'll change that. And the folder we want to watch is source/custom-icons/SVG. And I'll save that, and we'll run this watch script to make sure it's working. So I'm going to open up a second terminal and just run npm run custom-icons:watch, and we have an error here, invalid option output dir, public/custom icons is not a directory, so we need to actually create that output directory. So in the public folder, we'll create a folder called custom-icons. Let's try and run that script again, npm run custom icons :watch, and it seems to have worked this time. And if we look in this custom icons folder, we can see our CSS file. And we also need to update our index.html file in the source folder, this one here. So we'll open that up. And here's where we're pulling in the style sheet for the icon library. So let's just update the path to custom-icons/icons.css and save that. And let's just jump back to our first terminal and launch the app with Quasar Dev and make sure everything is still working. Okay, that's now launched and we can still see all of our icons. Let's add some Quasar components to this page which use material icons out of the box. So I'm going to jump to source and pages and index.vue, and I'm going to jump to the Quasar site and view components. And let's add a QDate component. So that's in form components and date picker. And I'm going to jump down to functionality and scroll down a bit. And we'll use this example here with the today button. So I'm going to click on view source and I'm going to copy this div with the QDate component inside. And we'll paste it after this QSelect component. And we'll jump to the script panel and copy this date property from the setup function, and we'll copy that and we'll paste that into our return object here after this options property and save that. And we can see that these icons are all messed up. The today icon is missing and these left and right arrows, which should be here, are all missing as well. And now let's add a color picker component. So I'm going to jump back to the Quasar site and components and color picker. I'm just going to grab the first example here. So I'll click on view source, copy this div, paste it after our QDate div, and I'll just remove the bottom three color picker components. And we'll grab this hex property from the script panel and paste it after this date property. Save that. And again, you can see these icons at the bottom are all missing. Let's add a pagination component. So I'm going to jump to pagination and I'm going to jump down to with input and we'll grab this example here. So we'll copy this div, paste it after our color picker div, and again jump to the script tab and copy this current property and paste it into our return object, save that. And that's not looking pretty at all. And finally, let's add an editor component because this has tons of icons on it. So we'll jump to editor and examples, and we'll scroll down to this kitchen sink example, which has all of the available options. Click on view source and we'll copy this div, paste it in here, and jump to the script tab and copy this QEditor property, and again paste it to the bottom of our return object and save that. And boy, does that look bad. Okay, let's add a custom icon set to this project. So we're going to jump to the Quasar site and scroll up, and we're going to go to options and helpers and Quasar IconSets. And this page tells us all about IconSets. And an icon set is basically just a JavaScript file which tells Quasar which icons to use for the Quasar components. And there's a bunch of ready-made icon sets that we can use. Obviously the default one is material icons, but we can also add an icon set for Font Awesome or Ionicons. And those icon sets will replace all of the icons in the Quasar components with icons from those libraries. But we're going to create a custom icon set. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit and click on this GitHub link here, which gives us the source for all of these icon sets. And we're going to use the default icon set and modify it. And the default one is the material icons.js file. So we're going to click on that and click on raw. And we're going to save this. And I'll just jump to my project folder So we're going to save this in source and custom icons. And we're going to give it the name custom-icons.js and save that. And let's jump to that file in our project. So source, custom icons, and custom icons.js. And we can see this is just a JavaScript object, which is telling Quasar which icons to use for all of its different components, such as the color picker component, carousel, etc. And we have a name property at the top here. So let's change that to custom-icons and save that. Now this icon set isn't actually doing anything. We need to get our project to load this icon set and replace the icon set that it's currently using by default, the material icons icon set. So if we jump back to this Quasar icon sets page and jump down to change Quasar icon set at runtime, then we have an example here of how we can switch out the icon set with our icon set. And we can fire this code anytime we want, but it probably makes sense to put it in our app.vue file, which is our root view component. So let's open that up. So that's in source, so app.vue. And I'm going to copy this example here and paste it into our script section. And this example here doesn't include the export default object, so let's add that around this setup function, export default. And then we'll just move this setup function in there. And so we want to import our icon set here. So we'll call this custom icons. And we're going to grab this from source /custom-icons/custom-icons. And this line here will actually set the icon set. And we don't need to run this in a function. So I'm going to remove this function. And we don't need this return object. And we just need to replace this variable name here with this one, custom icons, and save that. And let's just make sure our app is still loading our original icons up here. Okay, so let's fix these ugly ass components. Let's say the only Quasar component that we're using in our app is this QDate component, and so we only want to fix the icons in this component. So let's jump to custom-icons.js, and we can see the icons that this component needs in this file. If we go down to datetime, so here are the 4 icons which this component is using. So chevron left, chevron right, access time, and today. And these are all material icons. So we can just go and grab these icons from the material icon library, add them to our icon library, and just update these class names. So I'm going to jump to material icons, and we'll search for this first icon, chevron left. Just paste that in there, and we can see the icon. So I'm going to download the SVG, and we'll do the same for chevron right. Click on that. Click on SVG to download it, and then we'll search for access_time and grab that icon, grab the SVG, and finally we need the today icon. So we'll search for today and grab the today icon, download the SVG, and we want to drag these into our SVG folder. So that's in source, custom icons, and SVG, and we want to put them in this map folder, which is for material icons. So I'm just going to drag all of these icons into that folder. And by default, these SVGs have this suffix _black_24dp. So I'm just going to remove that suffix from each of these icons. And our watch script for our icon library is still running. So it should have regenerated our icon library. And if we jump to the public folder, custom icons and icons.css, we should see some new CSS selectors here for these new icons. And we can see them there. So for the chevron left icon, we just need to use the class icon-mat-chevron left. So if we now jump back to custom icons.js, we just need to add a prefix to each of these icons. So I'm going to do a multiple selection and give them all the prefix icon-mat- and save that. And our QDate component now looks beautiful again. And if you're enjoying this video so far, do me a favor and smash the like button and leave some love down in the comments. To keep your project lean, it probably makes sense to just add these icons to your icon library and update this IconSet file as you go along with just the icons that you need for the components you're actually using in your app. There's no point in adding a load of icons that you're not actually going to use in your app. But let's say you just want to fix all of the icons for all of the different Quasar components so that you can safely use any Quasar component without having to worry about these icons. Then I'm going to show you how to do that relatively quickly now. So first, I'm just going to use a couple of tricks to get a full list of all the icons that we actually need. So in this custom icons file, I'm just going to undo the changes we just made here. And I'm going to scroll to the top and I'm going to select from before a colon and just after a opening quote here. And then I'm going to press Command Shift and L to select all occurrences of that. And the shortcut for that might be different on Windows. And then I'm just going to press right and then Alt Shift and right. And you can see we now have all of these class names selected. And we also have the start of this name property selected. So we need to remember to remove that. But now I'm just going to copy these and open up a new editor and paste these in. And we'll remove this custom from the top, which was coming from our name property here. I'm going to select all of these and open up the command palette with Command Shift and P and search for sort. I'm going to sort these lines ascending. And now I'm going to remove all of the duplicates with an extension called permute lines. So if you don't have that extension, just jump to the extensions marketplace, search for permute, and you can see it here. It's this permute lines extension. And once that's installed, we can then select all of these classes and do Command Shift and P, search for permute, and we want to choose unique. And we now have a complete list of all of the icons that we need for all of the different Quasar components. Before we move on, let's just remove all of the ones we already have. So we have access time, we have arrow drop down, chevron left, chevron right, and we have the today icon. So I'll remove that. So we can now download all of these icons one by one from the Material Icons site. So I'm going to jump to the Material Icons site. And before we start downloading them, I'm just going to empty my downloads folder. And this is my downloads folder here. I'm just going to empty that out to make it easier for us to bulk rename all of these SVGs, because remember they add that suffix that we don't want on these file names. So I've emptied the downloads folder and let's start downloading these icons. So we need the add icon. So I'll search for add and there it is. So I'll click on that, download the SVG. Then we need the add box icon. So I'll search for that, click on the icon and download the SVG. And this is going to take a little bit. So I'll download them all and I'll be right back. So I've downloaded all 59 SVGs and they all have this _black_24dp suffix. So let's do a bulk rename to get rid of this suffix. And I don't know how to do this on Windows, but there must be a way. So you're just going to have to get your Google on. But on a Mac, we can just select all of these files and right click and choose rename 59 items. And we want to choose replace text. And we want to replace _black_24dp with nothing. Then we can just choose rename. And these files are all renamed. So let's drag these into our source custom icons SVG mat folder. So I'll select all of these and drag them in. And our watch script should still be running. So if we take a look at the icons.css file, we should see a bunch of new CSS selectors for all of these new icons, which we do. So now if we jump back to customicons.js, we can just add our prefix, icon-mat- to all of these class names. So again, I'm going to select from just before a colon to just after an opening single quote, select all of these, press right, and just add the prefix icon-mat-, and it's also added it to our name property. So I'll just remove it from that name property value and save that. And we can now see that all of our Quasar components look beautiful again. So we can see the icons on the color picker and the icons in the pagination component and all of the icons in this editor component. So we can now safely use any Quasar component we want in our app without having to worry about these icons. And you can grab the source code for this second part of the app at dannys.link/Quasar icon library code 2, and the link is in the description. Please hover over my face and click subscribe if you don't want to miss any of the videos in this series. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.